The status of King Charles and Lady Louise in the royal family has been the subject of whispered speculation for months. Nothing was established, but rumors about royal titles started to circulate. Then, all of a sudden, news reports declared that Lady Louise was now formally a princess of Her Royal Highness. Many individuals were shocked and intrigued by the story's quick dissemination. But is this only another round of royal conjecture? Or is this actually a significant change within the monarchy? Join us as we dissect it and expose the true situation. The 1999 pledge that shaped Lady Louise's early years. It's a common belief that history doesn't change overnight and that there is always a purpose for every significant change. In Lady Louise's case, that is undoubtedly the case. We must travel back in time to a period before she was even born in order to comprehend why this talk feels so dramatic today. We must go back to a pledge made during one of the most trying times in contemporary royal history, a period of extreme pressure on the monarchy itself. It was 1999. The 1997 death of Diana, Princess of Wales, continued to have a profound impact on Britain. The public's sorrow had been great. The streets were covered in flowers. Outside royal homes, crowds gathered. However, many people's anguish gave way to rage as the shock subsided. The royal family's handling of the situation was questioned. Criticism intensified. Strong emotions were evoked by one particular subject. Following her divorce from Prince Charles, Diana lost her title of Royal Highness. That choice seemed chilly and needless to many. Aunt Diana continued to be a future monarch's mother. However, she was no longer permitted to refer to herself as Her Royal Highness. Millions of people saw it as a cruel farewell to someone they still respected and loved. As a result, the monarchy started to have a major image issue at the time. Already, public confidence was at an all-time low. There was a feeling that something had to change. You'll be shocked by how that change occurred. Watch this space for more. Prince Edward married Sophie Rhys-Jones in June 1999 at St. George's Chapel in Windsor, in this delicate, sentimental, and politically sensitive setting. Alongside the wedding festivities, Buckingham Palace released a statement that seemed thoughtful and contemporary at the time. It was declared that Prince Edward and Sophie's future offspring will not use royal titles. They wouldn't be referred to as Your Royal Highness. They wouldn't be referred to as princesses or princes. Rather, they would refer to the children of an earl. Instead of being granted a dukedom, which is a higher status, Prince Edward was made Earl of Wessex. This decision was viewed as a component of a larger strategy to establish a less formal, thinner monarchy. The concept was straightforward. Their kids would have fewer expectations and more privacy as they grew up. They could choose to lead more normal lives and perhaps even work in fields unrelated to their royal responsibilities. It was portrayed as a progressive choice, a means of keeping up with the times. Lady Louise Alice Elizabeth Mary Mountbatten Windsor was subsequently delivered at Surrey's Frimley Park Hospital on November 8, 2003. She made a big entrance. Her father was in Mauritius on an official visit when she was born prematurely. At the time, there were legitimate worries, but happily, the mother and child made a full recovery. The legal framework governing royal titles in Britain is not a neat contemporary piece of legislation, which is where the story becomes very fascinating. It is a patchwork of historical precedents and royal proclamations, some of which date back more than a century. The most important of these is the 1917 letters patent that King George V issued during World War I. The royal dynasty, known at the time as the House of Saxe-Coburg and Gotha, was in a very unpleasant situation. The royal family was clearly German in name, ancestry, and dynastic ties, and Britain was at war with Germany. Thus, George V acted as monarchs in times of crisis frequently do. And he started over. In order to properly clarify who might use HR and the titles prince or princess, he granted the letters patent and altered the family name to Windsor. These were the guidelines. HR and a prince or princess could be used by a monarch's offspring. With one exception, the eldest son of the Prince of Wales's eldest son, great-grandchildren of a monarch in the male line were also eligible to use these titles. These regulations are blatantly gendered. They just use the male line to apply. Crucially, fresh letters patent issued by the sovereign have the ability to override them at any time. According to these regulations, Lady Louise was a reigning monarch's grandchild upon birth. According to a 1917 letters patent granted by King George V, she had the legal right to be addressed as HRH Princess Louise. The guidelines were very clear. Princes and princesses are the male line's grandchildren of the sovereign. However, her parents decided against using such a title. She changed her name from Princess Louise to Lady Louise. The 1999 pledge was upheld in this decision. It was a reflection of her parents' want for her to have a typical childhood. She went to conventional schools. She avoided the limelight for the most part. When she reached 18 in November 2021, it became clear that she had a calm and well-protected upbringing in contrast to other young royals. She hasn't changed her title and hasn't indicated that she will in the future. This was precisely what Sophie, Louise's mother, had foreseen, stating prior to Louise's birthday that although she and her brother James had the option, it was very doubtful they would exercise it. However, as of 2026, it seems that the monarchy has changed sufficiently for King Charles to reconsider this long-standing choice. Why, therefore, bring this issue back into emphasis at this time? After all these years, what has changed? Stay tuned if you're interested in learning more. The crisis and monarchy. Why is the discussion taking place right now? Now, if this discussion is happening at all, it's because the working royal family is dealing with a significant and expanding issue. The argument made sense when King Charles ascended to the throne with his declared vision of a slimmed-down monarchy. However, a number of unanticipated issues arose throughout the execution. The king's personal health was the first and most important issue. King Charles was found to have cancer following a treatment for an enlarged prostate. According to a February 2024 announcement from Buckingham Palace, it has never been made public what kind of cancer it is. For almost 2 months, Charles took a break from his public-facing responsibilities to concentrate on his treatment. In April 2024, he made a comeback to the public eye, and he has been active ever since. However, the incident highlighted a basic weakness. If the most senior member of the monarchy is unavailable, the monarchy cannot function effectively, and the king is not unbeatable. Then, in December 2025, Charles announced the good news that his cancer treatment will be reduced to a precautionary phase due to early detection and successful intervention. Although many people welcomed the information, the episode had already had an impact on the organization. The second crisis was just as unstable. Early in 2024, the Princess of Wales, Catherine, received a cancer diagnosis after undergoing stomach surgery. She completely cut herself off from public life for months. Her illness kept the most well-liked member of the monarchy from the front lines, just when the organization most needed her, but her rehabilitation was sincere and her return was warmly welcomed. And then there's Andrew. A formal process to deprive Andrew, Mountbatten-Windsor, of his remaining royal styles and honors was announced by Buckingham Palace in October 2025. As a result of the continuous pressure surrounding his affiliation with the convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, letters patent were issued on November 3rd, officially stripping him of the title Prince and the style Royal Highness. Additionally, he received a notice to vacate his Windsor home, Royal Lodge. Although Andrew had not performed any public royal duties since 2019, any chance of his return was eliminated by his official demotion. In less than 2 years, there have been 3 significant subtraction events from the already small number of working royals. As a result, the royal family is searching for a new member who can handle responsibilities when the time comes. The royal family may eventually seek to have Lady Louise play a more active role, according to royal analyst Richard Fitzwilliams, who points out that the monarchy will face a real staffing crisis in the coming years due to the small number of senior royals under the age of 70. Additionally, veteran BBC royal correspondent Jenny Bond has noted that the working royals will become increasingly thin on the ground over the course of the next 15 years or so. In this context, Lady Louise Windsor, who is calm, collected, and becoming more competent, begins to seem less as a supporting character and more as a solution. King Charles is contacting her because of this. However, it is important to take a moment to think about Lady Louise Windsor's true character before moving on to the possible title change itself, because she is much more than the chess piece in a royal game that this story has occasionally reduced her to. The same phenomena are frequently reported by those who have seen Lady Louise at public gatherings: a gentle intelligence, a natural calmness, and an ease with others that doesn't seem forced. She doesn't seem to be acting out a part. She shows up, and the phrase that keeps coming up in royal criticism is that she is truly herself. She competes seriously in a sport that requires physical prowess, coordination, and composure, sharing her late grandpa Prince Philip's passion for carriage driving. She drove Prince Philip's carriage at the June 2022 Platinum Jubilee festivities in remembrance of his passing in April 2021. A picture that touched the audience and conveyed a subtle yet impactful message about her identity. And that's not all. Before going to university, Lady Louise worked a vacation job at a garden center, a decision that demonstrates a sincere sense of groundedness in a person who might have easily used that time to establish a public persona. Prince William met Catherine Middleton at the University of St. Andrews, where she is currently a student of English. She also became the first female royal since Queen Elizabeth II to enlist in the British Army's University Officers Training Corps unit, the T4th OTC, in 2024. She is currently an officer cadet in the Army Reserve. That was not necessary for her to do. In 2024, she decided to participate in Trooping the Colour. Louise was the only non-working royal to appear with the Wales children on the Buckingham Palace balcony, a placement that was most likely deliberate. She is a dark horse candidate to be a decorative and practical asset to the royal squad, according to royal expert Christopher Wilson, who claims that she attracts everyone who meets her. Richard Fitzwilliams, a royal analyst, has pointed out that her choice of A-level topics, which include politics, drama, and history, seems especially fitting given that royalty is theatrical, and the first two would undoubtedly be helpful for a working royal. That begs the question of what precisely has been reported. Join us as we go further into this. In reality, what is being reported? Many sources are speculating that King Charles has made a quiet but thoughtful choice. According to reports, he is elevating Lady Louise to a more formal royal position and is having a serious conversation about formally designating her as Princess Louise, Her Royal Highness. Buckingham Palace has yet to issue an official statement. This is where things start to get interesting, though, because the conjecture does not appear to be noise. When you consider what has already transpired in the last few years, it begins to resemble proof. Consider September of 2022. Elizabeth II, the Queen, had just passed away. The country was in grief. Additionally, 8 of the late monarch's grandchildren kept watch over her casket inside Westminster Hall. Beatrice, Eugenie, James, William, Harry, Zara, Tyndall, Peter Phillips, and Lady Louise. Together with the future King of England and the rest of the family, Louise stood protecting her grandmother's coffin for 15 minutes. She had lived her entire life out of the spotlight, was 18 years old, and had no royal title. Nevertheless, she was the focal point of the most anticipated royal event in decades. Sophie, her mother, then disclosed that she had been holding her breath a little the entire time, not out of fear, but rather out of intense pride. It wasn't a background appearance. That was the institution's declaration of trust. The coronation followed. Louise was present at Westminster Abbey on May 6, 2023, when King Charles III and Queen Camilla were crowned. She did not walk in the ensuing parade. She was a rider. In front of millions of people across the world, she, her parents, and her brother were put inside one of the horse-drawn coaches that were used for the royal family's coach parade through the streets of London. She went to the coronation concert at Windsor Castle the next evening. 2 well-planned, high-profile events, 2 strategic locations. Once more, there is no title, but there is a clear indication that someone is ready for one. And think about this. Louise was seen wearing a silver horse-shaped necklace at both the state burial and the Westminster Hall vigil. This was a subtle and intimate homage to her shared passion for horses with both her late grandfather and her grandmother. Earlier that year, she had worn the same necklace to Prince Philip's memorial service. Few people noticed it at the time, but those who did knew exactly what it represented. It was a gesture made by someone who sincerely cared about this family and its history, not because a camera was watching. Add one additional element that most folks overlook now. For the first time since her iconic balcony appearance in 2024, Lady Louise did not participate in Trooping the Colour in June 2025. The explanation was that she was still enrolled in St. Andrews University. Her degree was her top priority. Additionally, royal observers saw it as a sign of someone making thoughtful, adult decisions about her time rather than a withdrawal. The type of individual who doesn't utilize royal proximity as a social event and turns up when it matters is also a sign. Therefore, the rumors that King Charles would be formalizing Louise's position and possibly confirming her title as a royal highness are not new. It originates from a pattern, a continuous, subdued presence at the times that characterize the monarchy, a pattern of individual decisions, the military training, the coach, the necklace, and the vigil that all lead to the same path. According to royal observers, Prince William will probably want more assistance to handle the responsibilities of a contemporary monarchy when he inevitably ascends to the throne. He might even appeal to dependable family members, such as his cousins, to assist with sharing official responsibilities, according to some royal editors. And Lady Louise's name has subtly started to come up in such conversations. It appears like the direction is beginning to take shape. Her role in the future no longer seems unimaginable, and the prospect is being discussed more candidly. However, there is one fact that adds even more weight to this argument, and it starts in a location that not many people were aware of. You must comprehend what was lost 4 years ago, and what that loss revealed in order to completely comprehend why Lady Louise is being considered as the monarchy's next official member. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex, Prince Harry and Meghan, declared in January 2020 that they were leaving their positions as senior working royals. They departed for California. They tore a noticeable hole in the functioning royal system by signing lucrative media partnerships, which have never been adequately fixed. Overnight, the organization lost two physically fit, well-known members, and the fallout is still being felt today. Prince Archie and Princess Leet, the children of Harry and Meghan, have full royal titles, which were bestowed upon them automatically upon Charles' coronation. The family resides in Montito. They are not royals in the workforce. At Christmas, they don't go to Sandringham, they don't keep watch, they don't travel in coronation coaches. The titles are still in place. The obligations don't. And the organization has been left to discreetly process that paradox while also dealing with Andrew's passing, Charles and Catherine's health issues, and the constant strain of keeping up a full schedule of royal engagements with a small portion of its former membership. Take a look at Lady Louise now. She has no title. She's never requested one. She was at Westminster Hall despite this. She was in the coach for the coronation. She went to the concert for the coronation. In 2024, Lady Louise was standing on the balcony of Buckingham Palace. Charles, the only unemployed royal king, was allowed to stand there. She serves in the reserve of the army. Every year, she goes to Sandringham for Christmas. In other words, although not having the official title, she fulfills all the duties of a working royal. There is no clearer contrast with the Sussexes. The title belongs to them. The work is done by her. The conjecture around Louise's promotion feels less like rumors and more like reason because of this contrast: quiet, structural, and unavoidable. In the realm of royalty, titles are more than simply words. They serve as a signal about who the organization is investing in, who it trusts, and what kind of loyalty it rewards. Lady Louise could be formally granted the same title at any time using the same letters patent method that was used in November 2025 to formally revoke Prince Andrew's Royal Highness title. Two very distinct messages from one instrument. And as of this moment, all the evidence presented by the palace points to one of them. A counter-narrative to the Sussex evacuation was required by the monarchy. A story that says, not everyone leaves. Some people stay. Some people stand vigil and ride in coaches and wear horse necklaces to state funerals without being asked to, simply because they believe in what this family represents. Lady Louise Windsor has been writing that counter-narrative quietly and without fanfare for years. The question is no longer whether the institution has noticed. It clearly has. The question is simply how and when it decides to say so officially, but the story is far from over. It will surprise you to find out what Lady Louise will gain when she takes on this title, what Louise would gain, and what she would give up. When you look at the benefits that come from the title, it is pretty obvious, some of which are formal recognition as a senior member of the royal family, access to royal resources and infrastructure, the ability to take on official patronages with the full institutional weight of the crown behind her, and a public platform of enormous scope. For someone with genuine interest in public service, and those who have watched Louise closely suggest this is real, that platform represents an opportunity to effect meaningful change. But there are significant costs. The HR title comes with obligations. It comes with scrutiny that Louise has so far been largely spared. As Marie Claire has noted, a journalist covering the royals described Louise as someone who might be asked to help save the royal family's reputation, but would be mad to do it. The media attention that follows an HRH princess is categorically different from the relative privacy Louise has enjoyed as a lady. Every relationship, every night out at St. Andrews, every opinion expressed publicly would be filtered through the lens of HR, Princess Louise. That is a permanent shift in how she moves through the world, and importantly, her parents made that decision in 1999 with a clear purpose to protect their children from the full weight of royal life. Sophie has spoken openly over the years about wanting them to grow up understanding that they would likely need to build their own careers. That is why they chose not to use her Royal Highness titles, even though their children were entitled to them. The option was always there, but the expectation was that it probably wouldn't be taken. When Lady Louise turned 18, she did exactly what her mother had anticipated. She continued to use her lady title and made no move to adopt the HR styling. For that to change now, it would require more than a decision from King Charles. It would also require Louise herself to choose a different path. And for those who have watched her quietly independent journey over the years, that may be the most compelling question of all. And that is where everything becomes even more interesting. Because while the speculation grows louder, Lady Louise herself has been sending a very different message. Not through statements, not through interviews, but through quiet, consistent choices. The clearest signal we have is what she has consistently done: attend quietly and without drama the royal events she is invited to. Christmas at Sandringham in December 2025 saw both Louise and her brother James present, and both chose without fanfare to continue using their existing titles. Her signing of the family Christmas card as Louise, rather than Princess Louise, was not accidental. It was a choice. Whether it is the last time she makes that choice is the question the royal world is watching. Louise is expected to graduate from St. Andrews in 2026. That moment, the completion of her degree, is being widely identified as the natural inflection point at which decisions about her public role will crystallize. What she does in the months after graduation will tell us everything. Does she move quietly into private life, perhaps pursuing a career connected to her military training? Or does she begin accepting royal patronages, appearing at official engagements in a formal capacity, and gradually transitioning into the working royal family? Her boyfriend, Felix Dilva Clamp, is described by those who know them as making them look like a lovely, relaxed couple without any airs. He accompanies her on the carriage driving circuit. Their relationship appears grounded in the same normalcy that has characterized her whole life. Whether that normally survives a title elevation and whether she would want it to is another open question. What is not open to question is the situation the monarchy finds itself in. PR expert Alison Lancaster has observed that the idea of Lady Louise stepping up as a working royal is a fascinating proposition packed with intriguing possibilities and potential pitfalls to navigate. That tension, the intrigue, and the pitfalls is exactly what defines this moment for the House of Windsor, for the institution. Louise represents something rare and genuinely valuable right now. An untarnished name, a reputation built entirely on dignity and quiet competence, a connection to the late Queen and the late Prince Philip that carries genuine emotional resonance with the British public. In a period when the monarchy has lost Andrew to scandal, Harry to departure, and has watched its two most senior working members face serious health challenges, Lady Louise Windsor stands out precisely because nothing bad has ever been said about her. That is, in royal terms, an extraordinary asset. But the decision to take the title of Her Royal Highness is totally up to her. What do you think? Should Lady Louise accept the HR title? Is this the right move for the monarchy, or does it undo everything her parents worked to protect? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We would love to hear them. Remember to like, share, and subscribe for more, and click the next video on your screen.